Was it loyalty? Was it love? Or was it the first step in BTS's silent reunion, in a move that has shocked the K-pop industry and sent tremors across the global BTS fandom? Insiders confirm that Jungkook has turned down a major global solo tour, reportedly valued in the tens of millions, to follow Jin on every stop of his solo tour, Seokjin tour. What began as a brief guest appearance in Chiba, Japan, has transformed into something far more profound. From Osaka to Anaheim, from Dallas to Amsterdam, Jungkook hasn't left Jin's side. Not on stage, not off stage, not even during the exhausting overnight travel runs that most superstars would assign to their teams. And now, fans are asking the one question that the industry dares not say aloud. Why? According to multiple sources within the industry, Jungkook was in final talks with international promoters for a 10-country solo stadium tour set to launch later this year. He had the songs. He had the stages. He had the world at his feet. And yet, he said no. Why? Because Jin asked for nothing, but Jungkook gave everything. He didn't need to do this, a member of the Seokjin tour production crew said. Jin never asked. But Jungkook came to us after the first show in Goyang and said, "Young shouldn't walk this road alone. If he lets me, I'll be with him to the end." And just like that, he stayed. There was no press release, no grand statement, no photo shoots or stylized announcements. Only a quiet decision made in the wings of a stage that once held 7, and now, the world is watching as Jungkook sacrifices solo stardom for something deeper, something that can't be measured in charts, money, or headlines. Loyalty, brotherhood, a legacy that BTS has built not through fame, but through unity. Fans have flooded social media with messages of awe, gratitude, and overwhelming emotion. Jungkook gave up the world so he could walk beside Jin. That's not just friendship. That's history. At Golden McNee 97-inch, he chose presence over promotion. That's BTS. That's Jungkook. At Arma4ever_K behind the scenes, Jungkook has reportedly taken on multiple roles: assistant, vocalist, coordinator, emotional anchor. During rehearsals, he helps arrange harmonies. During downtime, he keeps Jin company. And when the stage lights go out, he stays behind to help review performance footage, looking for ways to improve not his own spotlight, but Jin's story. He's not there to be seen, another crew member explained. He's there to make sure Jin is seen. This decision also fuels speculation that Jungkook's loyalty isn't just about brotherhood, but about something bigger, a secret BTS project slowly unfolding behind the curtain. Could Jin's tour be the vessel for a silent BTS reunion? Could Jungkook's presence be the bridge between solo eras and a full-circle comeback? As the tour moves toward its final night in Amsterdam, rumors swirl that other BTS members are planning to appear, not as performers, but as shadows in the crowd, lights in the background, souls on stage. A quiet return, a whisper that says, "We're still here." And at the center of it all, Jungkook, the youngest, the brightest, the one who once followed all 6 of them, now choosing to walk beside his eldest Hyung. And words. No promo. No agenda, just presence. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something the world thought was over as Amsterdam draws closer. The world continues to watch in disbelief. Not because Jungkook can't command a stage alone, but because he chose not to. While music charts, media headlines, and global demand awaited him with open arms, Jungkook quietly walked away from it all to stand beside one person, Kim Seokjin. And in doing so, he made one of the loudest statements in BTS's history without ever uttering a word. Fans first noticed the shift during the Osaka shows. While Jin poured his soul into tracks from Happy and Echo, Jungkook lingered just out of sight, adjusting a mic here, whispering something to the audio engineer there. Always watching, always present. Some thought he was just visiting. A sweet gesture, a temporary appearance. But when he showed up again in Anaheim, this time helping run sound checks and coordinating stage cues, the truth became clearer. He wasn't just there for support. He was committing to something far deeper. Behind closed doors, it was confirmed. Jungkook had turned down his own solo world tour, one that had been in development for months. Promoters were stunned. Negotiations collapsed. His team reportedly advised against the decision, warning him of the opportunity cost, of the timing, of the global momentum behind his solo career. But Jungkook refused to budge. Jin needs to feel someone's there. "I want to be that person," he allegedly said, and so he stayed, silently, steadfastly, without ever needing a spotlight. In a world of flashing cameras and social media updates, Jungkook's choice feels almost rebellious. While other artists craft solo brands and future headlines, he remains in the background of someone else's story. But those who know BTS understand. This isn't new. It's just never been this visible. Their bond, Jin, the eldest, and Jungkook, the youngest, has always existed like a quiet river beneath the surface. Steady, unshakable. While RM carried the group's intellect, Suga its raw introspection, Jimin its empathy, J-Hope its fire, and V its artistic mystique, it was always Jin and Jungkook who seemed to hold the emotional bookends. The first and the last. The one who started it all, and the one who grew up watching it unfold. Now, as Jin steps onto his most vulnerable stage, alone, post-military, navigating identity as both a BTS member and a soloist, Jungkook walks beside him, not as a performer, not even as Jungkook of BTS, but as someone who believes that being present is more powerful than being praised. In Dallas, fans notice subtle interactions between the two. Jin would glance off stage during ballads and smile. Jungkook, seated in the wings, would nod back. During rehearsals, they were seen sharing headphones, laughing between takes. At one point, Jin reportedly became overwhelmed after an emotional sound check. It was Jungkook who placed a hand on his shoulder and whispered, "We're doing this together, right?" These are the moments that define a legacy, and yet, it isn't just the emotional resonance that has fans stirred. It's the implications. Because now, the question grows louder with each city. Is Jungkook's decision a personal gesture or the first signal of a greater return? Rumors are spreading like wildfire. Suga was allegedly spotted at an international airport just days before the London show. J-Hope posted a cryptic message on his fan platform. "We always return to where our heart started." RM has stayed conspicuously silent, something armies have learned to interpret as a sign he's planning something. And Jimin? A photo surfaced of him at a European train station, hoodie pulled low, but fans swear it was him. The Amsterdam finale is now rumored to be something unprecedented. Not just a farewell, but a gathering. Not a performance, but a presence. A silent reunion, perhaps. A declaration that BTS never left, they just shifted form. And at the center of it all is Jungkook, the golden magne, the world-class vocalist, the soloist with every reason to put himself first. But he didn't. He chose Jin. Not because he had to, but because he couldn't imagine not being there. In a music industry driven by image and independence, Jungkook's quiet devotion is revolutionary. He's not just supporting Jin. He's protecting something sacred. The trust between brothers, the essence of BTS, the idea that even in solo eras, their story is still written together. As the final stage looms, fans around the world are preparing for what may be one of the most emotional nights in BTS history. Light sticks will shine, tears will fall, and perhaps, just perhaps, the seven will meet again. Not with fanfare, but with a shared glance, a silent embrace, a whispered lyric. Because sometimes, the greatest comebacks aren't announced. Sometimes, they simply arrive. And when they do, they don't need fireworks or headlines. They just need to be. That's what makes what Jungkook is doing so powerful. It's not just about music. It's about presence, memory, legacy, and love in its purest, most unspoken form. At every city, every rehearsal, every stage that Jin steps onto, Jungkook is there. He walks in second, speaks little, and rarely takes the spotlight. But his presence radiates through every movement Jin makes. Fans say they can feel it. In Jin's more confident voice, his brighter eyes, the way he laughs more freely between sets. This tour was meant to be Jin's solo story, a chapter written after the long silence of military service. But somewhere along the road, it became something more, a shared journey, a quiet reunion, a love letter not just to armies, but to the band that made all of this possible. Insiders now whisper that even Big Hit was caught off guard. Jungkook was expected to appear in Chiba, take a few photos, and leave. What they didn't expect was a full-fledged emotional commitment. He wasn't under contract. There was no performance clause. He had no obligation to be there. And yet, night after night, venue after venue, Jungkook appears, sometimes backstage, sometimes in the wings, sometimes watching from the lighting booth. He takes mental notes, suggests subtle changes to song transitions, and checks in on Jin's energy levels like a quiet guardian.